Got that?
Don't throw those bottles away. Turn them into money today. Vitamalt bottles equal cash in your pocket. It's super easy. Just take those empty Vitamalt bottles to any Cara Brewery distribution truck or any drinks depot in St. Kitts and Nevis. We're keeping our beautiful Twin Island paradise clean. Vitamalt bottles equal cash back. Keep it clean, keep it green. Vitamalt bottle returns. Your bottles, your cash, your island.
Church's Texas Chicken is on its way to St. Kitts and Nevis, and we're hiring. You can be part of our growing team as we open our very first store on the island. We're looking for motivated managers, friendly customer service reps, and hard-working kitchen champions. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Send us your resumes today at jobs@pizzaboys.com. Church's Texas Chicken. Flavor you love.
This September, TDC Home and Building Depot is celebrating big with 2 decades and more of building together with you. Join us for 2 weeks of incredible September 15th to 27th with 25% off selected items in store. Come celebrate with us in store and don't miss Customer Appreciation Day, Saturday, September the 27th, with free cake and more. TDC Home and Building Depot. Together we succeed.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
Good morning, and how are we doing this morning? To the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, a pleasant good morning. To the regional and international diaspora, a good morning. If you're listening on your radio, we are 98.9 on your FM dial. We are being simulcast on TVC Channel 40, Facebook, as well as YouTube. Just to remind you of our numbers, in the UK, it's 0333440065. Good morning, UN. In the US, it's 1718-285-6984 or 1305-921-4619. To all our listeners over there in the US, thank you for tuning in daily. And our local number is 466-0989. And to all of you here in the Federation, in the international, I should say the regional diaspora, thank you for tuning in daily. Quinn, good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I am doing okay. It's Thursday. It's pre-independence celebration. I did not know it was Patriotic Day today until last night, hence so I don't have anything patriotic to put on today.
Well, I didn't know anything because you know me.
Oh boy, I see everybody in their flag shirts. And listen, over the last few years since I've been back in St. Kitts, which is a total of 5 years, I realized that Kittitians are really, really patriotic. I remember when IREP SKN came out, a lot of people wore those, but in recent years, as I said, for the last 5 years that I've settled back in, and I've been looking at the trends and all that's happening, St. Kitts and Nevis are a patriotic bunch of folks, no matter where they are, even in their own country. I'm looking forward to the outfits today or whatever I can glimpse, because I'm not going to be around town for long, but
well,
kudos.
I did note that people had on their,
the little buttonnaires
and that kind.
Oh.
But I was just thinking, well, it's independence.
Yeah, it's Patriotic Day, and I saw a lot of folks went to church in different colors of the flag, and then they have these little buttonnaires that are all the colors of the flag that they're wearing to church as well. So we missed it. So we have to do better next year, God's Spirit, okay?
Okay. You love to tease me, huh? Okay.
Yeah, because we weren't expecting. See, I have on a color that has nothing to do with anything in St. Kitts. Well, maybe I could say it's part of the national wear, but I don't even think so. It's too, the color is too, it doesn't match anything.
It's part of the national wear. It's brown.
You know the little madras thing?
It's brown.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering if I have something on that makes sense.
You're dressed from where I'm looking, it looks
brown
to me. And brown is the natural color of our skin.
Okay.
So it might not be a part of the flag, but it's our national color.
Part of the national wear that we have. And you know what, I was telling someone the other day, and I think I mentioned it on the radio already. Why doesn't naturally born Katishan have a YouTube channel to showcase our national dish. Imagine I didn't know how to make dumpling because, of course, I'm a Guyanese. You know, I had to learn from an Antiguan YouTuber. Hi, Sharika. So I had to learn from an Antiguan YouTuber how to make dumpling and then tweak it because Antigua put sugar, nutmeg, all those things. And, you know, I don't see that in the Katishan dumpling. So I had to take out those things and just, yeah. But there was no, I Googled it, there was no one to show me how to do that.
Maybe because...
And also to turn corn. Sharika again from Antigua on YouTube, that's how I learned. And now I'm a big professional with corn and dumpling. Nobody could touch me. Yes, I've stolen. I've stolen. Listen. I've stolen the identity of corn and I've stolen the identity of dumpling. You swear I could teach you when I don't cook that, no?
You have a caller.
Caller, good morning. You're live in Island Tea. How are you doing today?
Good morning to everybody and greetings once more in Jesus Christ's name, the only Savior of sinners from their sins and from hell, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Like I just say, at times, we need to become a republic and get out the British Commonwealth, and the quicker we do that, the better it is. Now, I would just like to also remind us that the main focus for every day is the glorification of Jesus Christ, even on Independence Day. And let us give Jesus Christ thanks for how far he has brought us to see another Independence Day, to celebrate another Independence Day, and let's do it all and everything, always, every day, to the glory of Jesus Christ. Not to the glory of the country or the Federation or anything else or anyone else other than Jesus Christ only. Now, Quinn, something you said yesterday on Voices, and it seems to me that you basically said that white people are albinos.
Yes.
Right, but that is not so scientifically. That is not so. They're not albinos. They did not descend from albinos. Albinos do not have any melanin. White people do have melanin.
Albinos have melanin.
Well,
every human being has melanin, but the black
in the skin they're talking about.
But the black person has more melanin than any other. You might find different races have different levels of melanin and so forth, but yes. And
Yeah.
I remember from when I used to study back in the day. It could have changed somewhat because they have been changing so many things. But when you looked up the white man, you saw albino.
Well, from all the scientific things that I read, heard, and that sort of stuff, all of them said albinos. And when they did address the issue, specifically address the issue, all scientific sources of come across denies that and said
And I'm
albinos
sure
do not have melanin
and I'm sure
in
that
the skin.
And I'm sure that if you Googled enough, and you would find a reference to Caucasian and albino still, because I'm sure that recently I was looking and I bumped into that also. I don't just say things because I can say them. I say things because I take them from facts that I've known. So no, I don't. I maintain that white people stem from albinos.
Well, I would like to say a credible scientific source and that.
And you see what you just said? You said a credible. From what I understand from what I understand with you, nothing is credible if you don't agree with it.
Well, nothing is credible with the Bible if it goes against the Bible.
But Greg, it says people with albinism do not produce normal amounts of melanin. They have a reduced amount or a complete absence of it due to genetic mutation that affects the production of the pigment.
Yeah.
So they do have limited amounts. They may not have plenty.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
what
but
I
if you
said.
could do research and find out if Caucasians, being a Caucasian, mean that you are albino, descend from albino, that would also be good as well, because I know that that's not the case.
But you should do that. You should do those things and not just.
No,
It
I've
seems to
done
me,
it. I've done it. That's why I said what I said.
It seems to me that when I don't think you do research, because research means to go. You don't just look up three things and then say I've done research. Research means research. Research means that you go in depth and you get this and then you follow from that and you bounce to that, and it might take you a matter of days and weeks when you're doing research. You don't do research in 1 day, 2 days.
Yeah.
Scientists do
Yeah,
research and it takes them.
So that have taken me years.
Yes.
And what I'm
But this
saying is
shouldn't
that,
take you years anyway. This shouldn't
right,
take you years.
right. And like I said, all the research that I've done come across tell me no, white people are not albino.
Okay, let me ask you this: Have you come across anything that says that white people come from black people?
If I've come across, yes, but not black people, dark skin.
Well, black
dark
people.
skinned
I'm not gonna use semantics like you who try to run away from everything that is black. If you're brown, you're black. Because there's no really white and there's no really black and there's no really yellow and there's no really red. It's just, the way people express. So, yes, you said that you've seen where whites come from blacks. Because even scientifically...
By mistake, I said yes when it's a black. Really should have said dark-skinned people.
Black people.
And, well, I don't consider all dark-skinned people to be necessarily black people. No, I don't because
so I'm gonna
many Arabs are not. I don't consider some Arabs to be Indians and so on, and even what we call mulatto people and those sort of stuff. I don't consider them to be black nor white. I consider them to be in between.
Okay, so I hear you. That is
what I've said.
Any other point?
Well, the point also there's another point that I wanted to make, which is something based upon what you said yesterday as well, that white people, they are related to black people, but they are not the original people, and they came from black people, as you have just said as well. Well, what really happened, if I understand the Bible teaching correctly, at the Tower of Babel in Asia, that is where men split up. And depends on where they went and were in isolation at the time, adapting to environmental factors and that sort of stuff. There are people people lost certain genetic information, and as a result, some became darker, what we call black today. Some became whiter, clearer, what we call Caucasian and Chinese and so on today. That is how the so-called races began, with the dispersion of people at the Tower of Babel. Now, Adam and Eve, and I believe from Christian scientists who call themselves creationists, I believe Adam and Eve was somewhere between black and white, and they had all of the genetic information of all of the so-called races. I believe that was up to the case up until the people were dispersed at the Tower of Babel, that you just had one basic color of people, somewhere between white and black. And when they disappeared, people in the different environments, people lost some genetic information. That's why some come darker, like us, others become lighter, like the white Caucasian. But the people at the Tower of Babel and before, they were in between in color, and they had all the genetic information to produce all of these so-called races.
What you're saying is what the colonizers have said from the time they started colonizing everything. That is the verbal and written trend that they have taken to water down and eventually phase out black as being the original people, and reaching to the conclusion eventually that they are the original people, because you would read certain documentations from a lot of them in the past that say they are the original people, they are the superior people, and so on and so forth.
Well, that is just as inaccurate saying blacks are the original people and superior and so forth. Both of them are very inaccurate. The ancient Jews, is who God used to give us the Bible. And they say men dispersed from the Tower of Babel. No, they did not deal with race issues and the sort because that was not the issue in their day. And God did not see it important to mention, hey, okay, this is how the race is come. But based upon what science said, this is what makes sense. This is what makes logical sense.
Okay, how does it make logical sense when Noah was not Noah before the Tower of Babel?
Yes, he was.
Okay, so when Noah got sons and this and that, how is it that if you follow biblical teaching, and a lot of people are following that, Noah has this son and this son is black and that son and this one is cursed and that kind of stuff, and this is before the Tower of Babel. So how do you explain that?
Again, like I said, Noah and his sons them, most likely, and his grandsons them, most likely were of the same color. There's no curse that make anybody black or white or anything like that. There was a curse that was put on Noah's grandson.
But what I'm saying, and we're going to have to break from this because I don't want this to go on and on and on. We must bring it to a conclusion. What I'm saying is, then it contradicts what you're saying, because you're saying factually this thing with race and splitting off and all that kind of stuff happened during around the period of the Tower. Yes, but yet still there are people who have been pushing the Noah and the Noah sons concept that some were black and this one got, and you can refute it, but you know that it exists. You know that that way of thinking exists. So that is what I wanted to bring to the fore, to say that it contradicts what you're saying about the Tower of Babel.
Noah and his sons them would have had all the genetic information in them to produce all the so-called races. And I am saying all of these so-called races came about when men split up from the Tower of Babel and went in isolated places.
Okay.
And had to adapt to the environment and that sort of. And
okay, Greg. Okay, Greg. So you said what you said, and I said what I said. We're going to take a bit of a commercial break.
Okay. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Back to school is here at Harper's. Yes, Harper's is where it's at, with the widest selection of school and art supplies for all schoolgoers, from the tiniest preschooler to the big cool college students. Plus, everyone can enjoy a 10% discount and a chance to spin the wheel and enter our grand draw in September. And the bonus is, our friendly team is looking forward to welcoming you again and again and again. For more information, call us at 466-6500.
Yeah, we got that.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
Church's Texas Chicken is on its way to St. Kitts and Nevis, and we're hiring. You can be part of our growing team as we open our very first store on the island. We're looking for motivated managers, friendly customer service reps, and hard-working kitchen champions. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Send us your resumes today at jobs@pizzaboys.com. Church's Texas Chicken. Flavor you love.
Back
to school is here, and Digicel is making it extra exciting. Go back to school in style with a brand new laptop. All you have to do is activate a 3-day Prime bundle or higher, switch to Digicel, or sign up for a postpaid plan, and you could be one of 2 lucky winners. At Digicel, we're all about keeping you connected. So what are you waiting for? Get ready, get connected, and go back to school the Digicel way. Digicel, better connected for back to school.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And we're back on Island Tea, and at 9 a.m. today we will be having the Attorney General in studio to continue the discussion on the Special Sustainability Zone Authorization Bill. So tune in at 9 a.m. Not saying not to tune in now, but tune in at 9, where we will have Gart Wilkin speaking to us about the particular bill.
We have a caller.
Okay, caller, go. Morning, you're live on Island Tea.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Catencia. You know, it is striking. It is striking listening to Greg. Quint, I don't want to, draw on this thing, but I have to say what I have to say. With your permission.
Just say what you have to say, but as you just stated, don't draw it off. Be concise.
Yeah, you know what I want to say, Quint. The very fact that who came across sacred knowledge have to write in a book. When our ancestors were in tune with nature, and make no mistake, guys, nature is our greatest teacher, because the universe does not speak verbal. The universe speaks by sounds, vibration, and frequencies. As I said yesterday, those people that gave us what we term as the Word of God in a book, they came upon sacred knowledge. And what is this? The knowledge of civilization as to what came first. And Quint and Catencia, we are all spiritual beings. We are spirits before we came flesh. It's not just a one deity descended upon the face of the deep. We are all spirit before we came flesh. We have duality, divine masculine, divine feminine, because spirit dwells in the spiritual realm, is in oneness. Duality only came when flesh becomes what flesh is today. But those who gave us a book, they knew the knowledge of the universe and the earth, cosmology and ecology. Now, where did they found this? Because when you look at their culture and their existence, dwelling in caves, and yes, for those of us who are going to say, well, they came from us. They are the last people on this planet. Now, what gives them the right to dictate how we should live when I'm referring to our ancestors, guys. Our ancestors who left evidence carved in stones, the hieroglyphics, that they themselves couldn't even interpret. And now they have translated and polluted what they knew, because they know who we are. Just picture their minds, guys. Picture their minds when they assembled to translate what they gave us in a book. And if you don't see how they have hidden, as if they're saying, don't put this in the book. Put this. I mean, they chose to write, and then the Christian community going to say, well, it is enough for us to be governed by. When they gave us fear. You know, you see what is going on in America with Charlie Kirk? All of that is the beginning of the end, because the system created the killer and the killer. And, you know, for Africans to be feeding their energy into this low vibration. It is staggering. It is staggering, guys, that, you know, everything that is of America, we so caught up in it. And it is sad that we are feeding our energy to that low frequency.
Okay, Johnny, I want you to wrap up now.
Yes, Quint, I'll pause for you.
Yeah, okay. Well, what can I say? I only say what I say, and when I make statements, I make them from what I have garnered, what I've researched over time, but I don't say them for you to just pick up and run with them. The very same way that Greg comes back and he questions what I say is the very same thing that you should do. Question what I say, research what I say. You'll come across various things and you'll question those things too, and you'll do more research and you'll come to your own conclusion. That is what this is all about, you know. I don't even really try to persuade people. I just put out what I know, and I would admonish people to analyze and do their own research and come to your own conclusion.
Yeah, because as you said, research, you know, once a topic is had and I'm not afraid with it, I go and I do my research. And from the little that I got, because I try to run a few pages, I saw during Bible times, and this is from AI Overview on Google, during Bible times, races weren't understood in the modern sense. People were categorized by, as he said, the Tower of Babel, cultural, geographical, and ancestral groups like Semites, including the Israelites and the Canaanites, the Cushites, African, the Cushites, they're from Africans from south of Egypt, the Egyptians, and the Indo-Europeans like Hittites and Philistines. These categories were based on factors like language, territory, and ancestry, as described in the Table of Nations in Genesis. People from regions that might be considered white today, like parts of Europe, existed but weren't labeled as a white race because that concept and associated skin color hierarchy did not exist at that time.
Yeah, and I've said that on numerous occasions. On numerous occasions, I've said this whitening of the world is a more recent thing, and it has only caused more confusion, really.
Plenty.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Because we see where we're superior. And we will never, imagine we all understood each other at one point. We spoke the same language. And once we continue to do something that our Heavenly Father wasn't pleased with, He spoke to us about it and we just disobeyed and continued up. He just changed up everything. So we can't work together anymore.
Yeah.
We have a caller?
Yeah.
Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Good morning, Katensi, and good morning, Quinn.
Hey,
Happy
Django.
Independence when it comes.
Same to you.
Good day. Same to you.
Yes, Quinn, now let me shed some light on what's going on in the Federation with the questions of land. Land is so important to we ancestors then. So why it can't be important to we, the generations? Now, Quinn, I understand that the Nevis Island Assembly, the opposition, they should be coming to St. Kitts to argue the case in a right kind of style. And I feel that people in St. Kitts and Nevis must adhere and turn out. And I feel Janice Daniel is doing the right thing. If they could come down here, if the Premier could come down here and lead with people in Bastille and walk in the House of Assembly to pass laws, to take our land away from us, I endorse them and I hope JD them understand they have a lot of support around here because they don't start talking and working. Come over to Bastille and let me do it. You don't have it in Nevis? Come over to Bastille. Come over. Half of St. Kitts population is Nevis done. Who come down here in the early years and work hard in the sugar industry. Come and speak to your people. Come and let me talk about the land. Because half of these people, they run on them land their way. Mark want to sell. And it ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Have a good morning, everybody. St. Kitts Nevis enjoy the independent, although you are I want to wish the whole of PLP, the Honorable Prime Minister Timothy Harris, and the young man in Bastille, constituency 2, who will make a difference in this upcoming election because he on the right path and he can speak and he understand the thing.
Who is in?
So everybody have a good morning. Good morning,
Jam,
FM.
jam down. Jam down. See, this is
I think he means Damian Lawrence.
Okay, because I didn't know who that individual was.
So, Jamdang, if I'm quoting you wrong, you can call back and correct me, but I think that's who he means.
Yeah.
He replaced my late classmate, Azio Niles.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have another caller.
Okay, caller, go ahead. You're live on Island T. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you guys. Yeah, Jamdang is so right, man. And I'm going straight to the Prime Minister this morning. Again, when we look at St. Nevis, right, we are talking about this independence thing, 42 years. We went independence and we park ourselves up there for 42 years. Greg has been coming on, saying it's time for us to move to the Republic status. But my thing is, the Prime Minister and the rest of these guys that think control of St. Kitts and Nevis right now, they don't really care about the country like that. Because let me look at down the road. Goals. We're talking about goals, right? What type of goals these people got for the country?
What are some of the goals you would like to see, Burl?
No, this is not a meeting, Hortensia.
Okay.
When this is not a meeting. This is not a meeting. This is a federation of St. Kitts and Nevis thing, and this is not a political issue, really. You know, this is a national issue. You know, I listened to the guy Troy Libert last night, and on the Mark show, right? And the same thing what Jamdam just said, right? He was on there talking about like how our forefathers went through the struggle and got these lands and stuff like that. And, you know, we should leave the Federation better than we meet it. But there's no way we can leave St. Kitts and Nevis better than we met it if we take our lands and give our lands away. So when I just mentioned about goals, right? Mm-hmm. One of the targets that, and the Prime Minister himself, he ran on this in his campaign. He said he was going to try to take St. Kitts and Nevis Republic. It's an argument that's brewing in the Federation constantly about who is the father of independence. I don't see why we keep arguing about that. You know what I'm saying? That is not important. The fact of the matter is we took that step, and then the next step to be taken is to go Republic. But how can we look down the road and think about the goal of going Republic when we are taking our lands and giving them away? So, I mean, this stuff is crazy. It's real crazy. The whole Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis need to be in an uproar over this stuff, because when we look and think about going Republic, how could we be going Republic and we don't own our lands? This stuff is stupid. It's silly. And it seems like there's something brewing constitutionally, right? The constitutional scholars, the people in the Federation that got this knowledge, they need to come forward, because our politicians, they're not trying to educate us, not even about our own constitution. You know, there's a clip came up with Timothy Harris, and people are saying also that we need to get this clarified. You know, when the Attorney General comes on this morning, he need not come on and try to punk us down and laugh after us. He need to come out and even address the issue, what Timothy Harris is stating in that clip. If this issue about the Nevis lands is a Nevis issue, it should not have been presented in the federal parliament. So that means, Quinn, I don't know what it states in the Constitution, but
From
if
from
that's
from
what the case,
from my understanding, and I always try to use logic when I reason, as opposed to getting all passionate. From my
yeah,
understanding, from my understanding, I think that it could be tabled in the federal parliament. I'll tell you why. Because if it is the federal parliament who has control over security and what else? Two things that they use in terms and
yeah,
customs
yeah.
and customs
But
and customs, then it could be tabled in the federal parliament because that is why Mark had to refer to the federal government. If not for that, then Mark would have been able to just do what he wanted, carte blanche, without any obstacles whatsoever. But because he had to refer to the federal side of things so that he could get the security and customs aspect of it, I think, but
clear, clear.
I'm not a legal luminary, but I think that alone suggests that it could be tabled in the federal parliament. And like I said, I use logic when I reason.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna even though we might be talking against it, right? We still got to look at the other side sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I agree with you. So even though I just stating what I'm stating, we need them to bring that clarity. When the
My
when,
my
when the
my position is that if Timothy Harris knows what we don't know because he's been in this business a
yes,
long
he
time,
needs to come
he
forward.
he
I
should
mean,
have come forward before and
yes.
state this and explain to us why he makes such a statement. This is after the
Yeah,
fact.
because even him making that statement, he's appealing to our emotion. We
Yeah.
need to know what it states in the Constitution, because even he might talk about it, but he don't even have the Constitution in the hand, citing it, circulating that document. Do something. Just like how they go by the rum shops and put up the voters list. You bring the Constitution up to us and staple it up on the rum shop towards them, and you circle that article in the Constitution so we could see it plain and clear.
But let me tell you something. When it comes to the Constitution, I've never really perused the Constitution because I've seen and heard arguments about constitutions all over the world, and it seems like the Constitution is left to interpretation. And it seems to me like the trend I've seen is that whatever the ruling party is, usually, not every time, but usually, what they interpret the Constitution to mean is what the legal luminaries refer to. For instance, if you look at what is happening in the United States of America with Trump, we might disagree with a lot of things, but you will find that when a lot of things goes to the court for the most part sides with him, and certain things that we didn't expect would happen keep happening. Why? Because he's the leader, and it seems as if though the system always wants to lean towards the leadership. So you would find Trump is in now, and some lawyers are going to interpret the Constitution this way to favor him, and when he's out, somebody's going to come and use a contradictory argument and say, well, this needs to be changed or amended, because and we never really get anywhere. This is why I say it's not so much about the Constitution, it's about the will of the people and people who are just and fair in how they govern.
Yeah, you're right about that, friend, because I'm going to tell you why. I sometimes compare the politics in America to the politics locally in St. Nevis. And I'm going to tell you a commonality that I came up with recently. Up to last night late, I was looking at some clips. The freedom of expression and freedom of speech and expression, it is under attack in the USA, and it is also the same in St. Nevis right now. You might not pay attention to it going in St. Kitts and Nevis, but it's happening there as well. We've seen some big wigs that has been silent. They've been silent. We see the attacks. There is something going on in America right now where Trump is trying to shut down the media. You see that thing where they pulled the talk show host off of CBS.
Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel.
Colbert. Yes,
Yeah.
and they pulled Jimmy Kimmel off. I mean, how can we just pull Jimmy Kimmel off just over?
But that burl speaks to what I was just saying. That is a very good point. It
Yes,
shows
yes,
this is
yes,
supposed.
that's what I brought it up. That's why I brought it up.
This is supposed to be. You would assume logically that for someone to express is their constitutional right. But here you have
Right.
people. Here you have people going contrary to that, and it is being sanctioned. I mean, so
Yes.
this is why I say
These are the type of things that we got to be
it is
careful
all
with,
left
and
up
this is why
to.
you make the statement that you just made.
Yeah.
I understand exactly what you just said. It's biased only to assume who is in at the specific moment.
Yeah.
I understand exactly what you just said, and this is what I'm pointing out. The citizens got to understand when they're doing stuff like that in secrecy or behind the scenes, under the table, it's affecting us. But sometimes we see things that's coming out, and we sometimes don't even want to speak about it. But
Yeah.
I'm going to lend my voice as much as I can towards wrong, especially. I'm not a person that can go wrong, but when I see wrong, I call it out.
Okay,
But
I want you to
I'm
bring.
going to wrap up right
yeah.
now.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. What you said? Let
No,
me
I
understand
want.
what you're saying.
No,
first.
I
Go
wanted
ahead.
you to wrap up. I wanted you to wrap up
Yes.
because yeah.
What I see, what I saw, that what Mark has done with this SSC, it is totally wrong. And it's wrong for us to lose our lands that our forefathers worked and toiled and worked so hard for, and then in the stroke of a pen, we're going to lose it all. When that land changes hands to foreigners, man, well, I can't say nothing about that. When the lands, my main point is when we lose our lands to foreigners, then become slaves and servants in our own country again.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird when you see, because one of the things you used to hear touted in the United States of America is freedom of expression, freedom of speech. But now you find
Don't talk.
Yeah,
Hush.
and you will find that certain individuals will go and say certain things. For instance, this individual who recently got killed, he used to say a lot of crazy things, and he touted the freedom of expression, the freedom of speech. But yet still here's an administration, and as long as you don't say what they want you to say, shut down. So yeah.
But I would want to ask for the citizens, yes, those that came before me, what does independence mean to you, and what significance has independence brought to the Federation over the past 42 years? Quint, you want to answer that question if you could?
That to me is, I think, if I'm going to try to go into the heads of our foreparents, it would have to be a hypothetical because I can only assume. I would assume that our foreparents really felt that independence meant what it touted. It meant independence. It meant a freedom to do things that would advance your status, how you live, and make things better for posterity, for future generation. But what we have found out is that independence, the way we perceive it in our minds and the way those who say we are given independence, they see it differently. Because, for instance, let's look at the way the world goes. We want to do agriculture here. We want to feed ourselves and so forth. The biggest threat is monkeys. We would like to be able to use different measures to eliminate the monkeys over time. But yet still, you hear about an institution or a body of people who are called PETA, and you hear our people say, boy, you got to be careful about PETA because Peter's going to come and they're going to protest in your waters, and next thing you know, we are dependent on tourism, and next thing when tourism goes, we're not going to be able to feed us. So many people depend on that for, daily finances. So then you ask yourself, so weren't we supposed to be independent? Isn't independence within our borders, meaning that if we see something that
As a
poses a
threat.
threat, but see, for them now, they have true independence, because when they want to limit something, they have seasons. They have deer hunting seasons, this seasons. You hear them recently saying that things like possums and so on and so forth are getting out of hand. But we, who are also supposed to be independent, we can't do what we want to do.
So independence isn't really independence. It's still dependent on
On
other
them,
forces controlling
yes.
what we do in our very own federation.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Hello, caller. Oh, we lost that.
Caller, you can call back.
And that is the way it has been in so many different ways. In so many different things they come and they impose, and they do it in this way. When our leaders go off to beg, I mean, I was trying to find a softer word, but yes.
Ask for. Okay, go ahead.
I wanted
Can't
to
even
say
find
ask
words.
for, but the reason why I use beg is I want to be straightforward. And the reason why I say beg is because if you go to ask, you would think that you go to ask someone who would be passionate and considerate. But when you go to beg, you know that you go to plead with someone who may not have compassion, but you hope that they will accede to what you want. So that is why I use beg as opposed to ask, right?
Okay.
But okay, thought I had a caller there. But so when you go to beg, when our leaders go to beg, papers are put in front of our leaders, and our leaders sign off on these things. And next thing, when they come back, you hear, we can't do this and we can't do that because we signed off on this and we signed off on that. So again, it comes back down to, are we independent? How is it that we are independent, but if we go to ask you, because if we were independent, I would use the word ask, because we are independent, we have a bit of a problem, and I come to you and I ask you, I say, Hortensia, would you consider us going into agreement where you loan me so and so, or perhaps because you are in a better financial position, and let's be blunt, you benefited off of 400 years of our oppression. You have all the wealth, you know what I'm saying? So could you find it in your heart to either loan us or give us a grant, right? If we were independent, you would say, okay, yeah, or yes, I would do, or no, I don't think I'll do that right now. You understand? But you put a paper in front of me and you say, well, I'm going to give you, but this, and the amount of things it seems our leaders are signing off on. You understand? It's not just a one, it's come like the whole barrage of things, because we seem to be our hands are tied.
Like our nation's motto, and I'm thinking on Guyana's and that of St. Kitts and Nevis. It's one people, one nation, one destiny for Guyana and its country.
Morning, guys.
Go ahead, caller.
How are you guys this morning?
Fine, thank you. And you?
I'm good. But Quincy, you are so right, though, and that's the problem. 'Cause I used to get so upset when I hear, oh, when America sneezes, we catch cold. Stay out of the people's face. You know they got a cold. Why are you in their face?
But are we in their faces, though, Cleo? Are we really in their faces? Because remember, we don't really have to be in the face, because everything that happens trickle down to us. When September 11th happened, we stopped seeing people traveling. We stopped seeing people coming. So we're not necessarily in their face, but it affects us directly or indirectly.
Like Quinn said, when they go a begging. Hello? when you come begging me, afterward I'm going to control you because I have what you want.
Yeah.
You're correct.
So I can twist you and turn you. It's just like when you go back to when slavery was in America. The people got their free paper, but where did they stay? They started plantation. I worked for the same master who was abusing them.
Yeah.
I got my paper. I am running.
Yeah, but
No, but you
run to
couldn't run.
where?
We couldn't run. We couldn't.
There was
where would
nothing.
run
We
to?
yeah, we had nothing to build. They didn't give us. They didn't pay us, so we had no
Yeah,
money amassed.
yeah.
Saved up.
It was all a trick.
Yeah.
And that comes back down to the so-called independence. It
Yeah.
that was a good point, Cleo, because when they said, "Here, you're free," they knew what did we have? They never gave
Nothing.
us anything.
The only thing we didn't get anymore after being free was maybe the lashes, but we were abused in other ways because they still pay us little.
But we still got lashes because remember people were still being hung even long after independence, you know. People were still being found on trees and so on. As a matter of fact, I saw an article yesterday that a college
People are being
student
hung. People are being hung still.
yeah, a college student was found hanging on a tree in somewhere in the
On a
US.
tree, the day after, I think it's the day after the shooting of what he named.
Yeah.
But do you think that was an actual lynching or was it a suicide? What are they saying? I saw it, but
that's not the first one. I think that's like the second one for the year, if I'm not mistaken. These things are being done under slick, because what they're trying to do, they're trying to say he committed suicide. But how can you commit suicide with your body all beat up? Well, he put up himself against the wall and thing and then climb the tree?
Yeah.
But these things are still happening, but they're happening very, very sly and subtle.
Yeah.
And call it as suicide. That's the label. Label it as suicide.
Yeah. If it is that someone committed suicide, how is it that they're bruised all over their body? That brings up
And
a
if you
question.
realize, it's not even so much on the news, you know.
Yeah, I barely saw it, and yeah.
It's not a talk on the news. You got to really go on social media to really hear anything about that poor young man.
It's just like the Palestinian thing. When you hear about the Palestinian, you always hear, but you know Hamas did that wicked attack and killed so. But no one says, okay, yes, Hamas did that attack, but it is wrong for you to be killing so much thousands of people and ongoing.
It had nothing to do with it.
And then here, this is the other part they add to it. And until you give back all of the hostages. But why can't you say, look, let's just stop killing people right now? No.
Exactly.
There's always something tied into, unless you do this, unless you do that, unless you do, not justice.
We are living in the era where wrong is now right and right is now wrong.
Yeah, well,
That's the era we are living in.
This era, Cleo, has been going on for over 400 years, you know.
It's blatant and boldly in your face now. I mean, it's in your face. You know definitely it's wrong, but people call it right. I mean, look at the young man that got assassinated, whatever they want to call it. I mean, look at what he used to spew. But if you listen to social media, this dude was a saint.
Yep.
If you follow them, he was a saint. It's like what he was saying did not matter.
Yeah, yeah.
And you cannot even when you talk about what he did, they make it seem like you're wrong.
Yeah.
What you're saying is wrong, and all you're repeating is what he said, but you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're repeating it. You see what a mix-up world we're in right now?
I was saying just the other day something. Remember when we used to hear about troll stories and all these things? We thought trolls were indifferent, ugly-looking beings. That's the word I prefer to use instead of ugly. And now I see this Labubu character that's out that is just, it looks so weird, but it's the hottest thing since sliced bread. And everybody's buying it, even the shirts with the eyes bulging out. I'm like, how can something...
that demonic thing?
Yeah, so weird is something that's so great.
They realize get you to buy these things for your children, invite all kind of demonic spirit into your household, and you're bringing in demons in your household. And when everything turn around, you're wondering what's going on, what's happening, because you invite the devil into your house and pour you in, or you just bring in a demon in there.
Yep.
Can you imagine getting up in the middle of the night and running into that?
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna have to segue.
All right, Cleo, thanks for calling.
That's a segue about now. It's 2 minutes before the top of the hour, but I'm going to segue right about now so that you can transition over. Okay, so we'll take that bit of a commercial break and we'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Independence, Hosford is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-stop shop. 1. Furniture and appliances. Make your home shine. 2. Building and Nevis centers. Build it strong. Build it right. 3. Ashley Furniture Home Store. Style it up with flair. 4. Auto spares and accessories. Keep your ride moving smooth. 5. Builder's Paradise. All your hardware dreams in one stop. And here's the kicker. For 3 days only, September 17th, 18th, and 20th, get a massive 25% off store-wide on all discountable items. So this Independence, don't just shop. Celebrate freedom and savings at Hosford's. Your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-stop shop. Hosford! Celebrate freedom! Celebrate savings!
Flow customers, unlock big prepaid rewards every time you activate a prepaid plan. Activate a 7-day plan or higher and earn points towards your rewards. Activate again, earn even more points. Activate next week, well, you get the picture. The more you activate, the more extra data and prizes you earn. Get in on the big prepaid rewards. Dial *129 or visit topupflow.com to activate a prepaid plan today.
Back to school is here at Harper's. Yes, Harper's, it's where it's at with the widest selection of school and art supplies for all schoolgoers, from the tiniest preschooler to the big cool college students. Plus, everyone can enjoy a 10% discount and a chance to spin the wheel and enter our grand draw in September. And the bonus is, our friendly team is looking forward to welcoming you again and again and again. For more information, call us at 466-6500.
Yeah, we got that.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And we are back on Island Tea, and as promised, we have the AG in the studio with us. Good morning, sir. Welcome to Island Tea. And how are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Cortencia. Good morning, Quinn. Good morning to all the listeners. I am doing well.
Okay,
I'll tell you why I'm doing well this morning. Yesterday was a wonderful day for me, personally.
Your birthday?
No.
Just checking.
No, we were doing our happy Independence Eve to everyone in the nation and in the diaspora.
Thank you.
No, yesterday we were doing our high school visits. So we visited all of the high schools and CFBC. And when we were at Keon High School, shortly after the presentation, we were speaking about the Sustainable Island State Agenda, conserving water, how we could use solar energy, encouraging farming and kitchen gardens, growing your own food, talking about the importance of independence, and reminding the children about the Aspire program, which is a financial literacy program. But after we were finished at the Keon High School, I went down. We normally, speak to the children. I asked them, what do you want to be, what class you're in, what subjects you're doing, those kind of things. And a young lady, actually 2 young ladies came to me at the Keon High School. I believe they were in the Form 4, Form 5. And they said, our friend wants to talk to you, but she's shy. So I said, okay, where is she? I saw her. I said, why are you shy? She said, AG, I admire the good work that you do, and you've inspired me to want to become a lawyer.
That's sweet.
Now, that is one of the best things that's ever happened to me in public office. Okay. So I feel happy about that. That has made me happy. Yesterday, all through the day, and I told her that. I said, that's one of the nicest things somebody has ever said. Public office is difficult, and you do a lot of work. Majority, maybe 95% of the work you do is not seen, but you don't do it, it's service. But to see that I've inspired somebody in Form 4 or Form, I think she was in Form 5. She was in Form 5 because she said she was going to CFPC next year. To become a lawyer was very impactful for me, and that's why I'm happy this morning. So let's talk positivity this morning, Quint. And just I was listening in the car coming down. I believe that St. Kitts and Nevis is independent. Okay. I think
but
we're
what does independence, you being a
freedom to make your own decisions.
But then, as we were discussing, sometimes it seems like we can't make our own decisions.
There's always geopolitical pressure. Let's look at this trade war that's happening. Yeah. Some countries purchase more than others. So if you purchase a lot from another country, there's some geopolitical pressure you can put on that other country to negotiate a trade deal. Mm-hmm. That's the reality of the globalized world we live in. That wasn't a reality 150 years ago. But I've never gone and begged in any international rooms. I understand what you meant. Sometimes what you meant is that it's not necessarily two equal partners negotiating. Yeah. So if it's not two equal partners negotiating, are you asking or are you begging? I understand the point.
Well, I tried to explain it.
Yeah. No, I understand. I got that from you, but okay. I'm just telling you that St. Kitts and Nevis is well respected in the international community. We're tiny. We're the smallest, the least populous independent nation in the Western Hemisphere. However, we're well known. Yeah. So when we go into international fora, I had a meeting yesterday, actually on the bus when we were school visits with somebody from the UN DP Development Program. And they were basically interviewing about, how the program has been working for us. And it's been truly a partnership. It hasn't been a one-way street. We help them by giving our stories, saying what fulfill obligations that we have to our people. They tell our stories. It inspires other countries. They provide financing and technical support. So it's a partnership, and I explain that to them. So I see our interaction with the international community as partnerships. I see us as truly independent. There's another step we can go towards independence, which has not been a hot topic.
Let me interject, because I'm going to ask you if it is. I'm not going to refute what you said, because that is your feeling.
Exactly.
If it is that we are independent, we are truly independent. I'm going to use agriculture as an example. Why is it that the monkey has been such a big problem and we cannot seem to find a way, and I'm going to put that on the system itself, on the parliamentarian? It seems as if though you all are hesitant and finding ways to compromise as opposed to finding ways to cull.
Well, there is a culling program within the Ministry of Agriculture. I actually remember reviewing the contract.
Yes.
I have, in my 3 years in office, I have not felt or seen any pressure from any international communities about the monkeys. I have not seen that raise its head at all.
But I'm a farmer. I do farming. And the monkeys are a problem. The
monkeys are a serious problem.
We cannot, you can't go anything above the ground. Citrus, they come in droves, right?
I'll give you the example.
You can't put anything under the ground.
During COVID, we set up a kitchen garden, and I had melons. And I was so happy the melons were growing. I was ready to pick them. And one of them was nice and big and juicy. And I picked it up, and the back of it was bitten out.
That's what they do.
And they frustrated us. The only thing they didn't eat was the eggplants.
So the question then, Mr. AG, is how do we appease that in a way that You see, it's about perception. The people, we the people feel nothing is being done,
Yes, I see
and
what
we
you mean.
want to be able to feed ourselves.
Understood.
So
And
how
we
do
have
you
to
deal
feed
with
ourselves
that?
because that's
Yes.
one of the things we spoke to the children
Yes.
about, the primary schoolers and the high schoolers.
Yes.
To be truly, yes, I see what you mean. To be truly independent, you shouldn't be bringing in your food.
Okay.
You will always import. Every country, I don't think there's any country that doesn't import food, but with the scales, I remember I sat on a committee in 2011 or so, when we were, do you remember when the government at the time was setting up these hydroponics?
Yes.
And they were trying to get people into hydroponics. And I was on a committee. I can't remember how I got on the committee. And I remember them saying that we import, I think, 70% of the pork that we consume in St. Kitts and Nevis. And that was shocking to me. And the other numbers were just as bad.
Yeah.
And I said, we have to do something about it. But the other issue is, Quint, are you going to get persons to be poultry farmers? I mean, are you going to get persons to be pig farmers? That's the question. When I spoke a lot to the primary schoolers, a few of them said they wanted to be farmers, but it's about encouragement. But yes, there is a state responsibility. One, for food security. I know the Ministry of Agriculture is doing work. I'll give you an example. Do you know that Guyana has offered to CARICOM thousands of acres? Guyana is huge. Guyana has offered thousands of acres to citizens and residents of other CARICOM territories who don't have the volume of land that they do.
I didn't know that, but that is a very good thing.
To grow there. So they said, send your farmers here, let them cultivate on these lands, and then you can exclusively export the produce there to your country.
Okay.
So that is a program that I think it started a couple of years ago. I don't know how, I haven't gotten an update recently on the progress, but that's a good idea because that is true CARICOM unity.
That is a fantastic idea.
But are people going to go, Quint, into the central area of Guyana? I presume it's the central area where all of the vast fertile land is. Yeah. Leave their home, leave their family to go to Guyana. They're not going to see produce for 6 months to a year. They're going to come home for a couple of weeks and go back because you can, as a farmer, as you know, you can't necessarily leave your crop for an indefinite period. Are people willing to take that leap and do that?
Well, I'm going to ask two questions. One, this is the first I'm hearing about that. So has this been disseminated?
Yes, it was actually announced, I believe, at one of the CARICOM meetings. As I said, I don't know how it has matured, what stage it is, but Guyana offered that a few years ago.
Well, what I didn't mean disseminated in the CARICOM fund.
No, but no.
I mean
published,
disseminated to
I,
us.
I did not. I got that information as a citizen, as a general. I didn't get that as a person within government.
Okay.
Yes, I remember there was a report that discussed it. But I saw it as a press release from CARICOM.
But then, don't you think that knowing that, you could pass it on to
well,
your
the ministry,
colleagues?
I suspect, don't quote me, I don't know, but I suspect that the Ministry of Agriculture has spoken to farmers about that option. I don't know. I don't know what stage it's at, but I'm just saying that is an option for us.
Yes,
but ideally, it would be perfect in an ideal world with a country an island that's name is Liamigua, fertile soil, for us to produce more of what we consume.
Yeah.
But that also is a change of culture because there's some young people and some older people who don't eat breadfruit. They don't eat tanya, they don't eat yam.
Well,
they don't eat ground food.
That is gradually changing because people are becoming more conscious and people are moving more towards what we now know as superfoods, whereas they used to say it was too full of starch and too full of, you understand? Yes. So, yeah. But I want to get mainly to the specific reason for your being here. I was told it was to explain the special sustainability zone
authorization
bill.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Well, the station has been asking me to come on for a little while, but I was busy, so I took the opportunity on the invitation to come, and I realized that there's a lot of chatter about this act, which is now law, 99.9% of it is inaccurate. So I just came to clarify for the general public. That is my duty as Attorney General. Quint, I don't know if you are on social media, but when laws are passed, typically within the next few weeks after, I prepare a very short, concise summary of all the laws that have been passed.
Yeah.
We're at 83 or 84 to date, since Parliament was.
Where on social media can one find that?
I put it on my Instagram. I put it on my Facebook. Yes, I know young people use all that. I do post videos on TikTok. My comms team has prepared video clips of the summaries of the laws so people can understand. Because I believe you can't just, as a parliamentarian, especially my role as Attorney General, just go into Parliament, support laws, and not explain to the people. And I know that it has had some traction because people stop me sometimes and say, thank you, I didn't understand what that law was. I read the summary, now I understand. Because we have a very rigorous parliamentary agenda, as you can tell. So I felt like they needed to bring it down so everybody can understand. I have not done that yet because it's been hectic in the last few weeks, and we've been doing a lot leading up to independence. But I plan to put pen to paper, and I do it myself to summarize the law. But I want people to understand what it is. I have a friend who have a lot of political debates with, and I think I messaged him last evening because he made a public post, and I said, did you read the bill? Because what you're saying about the bill is the actual opposite of what it is. So I just wanted to go through with it, Quint, just to clarify. So can I do this, if you would allow me to, Hortensia and Quint, by asking some questions first to set the stage, because everything has context. Are you aware as to what special economic zones are?
I think that you being the Attorney General, you should
No, I talk about
that.
around the world.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
No.
So a lot of people don't. So they are frequent throughout the world. Some of them have been very successful, special economic zones. So what a special economic zone is, it could either be a designated area or designated industry in a country that has specific rules that apply that may streamline business, for example, and encourage foreign direct investment. I'll give you an example of Mauritius. Mauritius has one of the most successful special economic zones. Now, Mauritius was a sugarcane country. I don't know if persons know, but it's an island off the southeast of Africa.
How large it is?
Mauritius, that's a good question. I'll let Hortensia do the research so long while as to the size of...
Because the reason I ask that is because we are only 68 square miles, huh?
Yes, no, but okay, I understand what you're getting to, and I'll deal with that when I'm dealing with the act.
Yeah.
So Mauritius, 1 second, yes. Mauritius, yes. So Mauritius started their zone in 1970 to move from a sugar-dependent island, sounds familiar, to a diversified middle-income economy. Unemployment at the time fell from 20% to 5%. Manufacturing soared, and the model eventually evolved into like a free port hub. And it was in an economy, it's like an area where businesses can have special rules which encourages persons to set up businesses there. They hire local people in those businesses. Think of like offshore, the offshore sector in Nevis. It's not a special zone, but it's the industry that attracts foreign investment. It hires local people, and it builds up the economy. Mm-hmm. Now, the size of the zone varies. But I just want to understand what the economic zone is. Jamaica has an economic zone. Let me give it. Jamaica, 70% of Jamaican exports originate in their special economic zone. Bahamas has a special example.
Can I interject occasionally?
Of course.
Okay.
There's a discussion.
So let me ask you, does this zone...
What zone?
Whatever zone, whether hypothetical or here, proposed, do these zone, what does autonomy mean in relation to this zone? Or
Where do you get the word autonomy?
Okay, let me.
Quinn. Okay, I think I know where you're going. Let's hold that thought. Stick a pin on that. Let's talk about the bill first, and then we'll get to that because I want to go to the bill first, if you allow me to, and then talk about the rumors.
Okay.
Good. So let's do that. So, that's an economic zone. Economic zones are areas. They could be, for example, manufacturing, where the manufacturing companies are encouraged to come and set up there because they have special rules, concessions, rules, and so forth. In that area, where they can then make money, they hire people in that jurisdiction because you can go to another jurisdiction, but you encourage the persons to come to your jurisdiction by setting up this special economic zone. So they're actually very good. There's one in I think it was Ireland, the Shannon Free Zone. It has 170 companies and 8,000 jobs. There is one in Dubai, the Jebel Ali Free Zone, 130,000 plus jobs. And it's 24% of Dubai's foreign direct investment. There is also one in Panama, the Colon Free Zone, which has 2,500 plus companies, 30,000 jobs. It's 8.5% of the GDP. So I'm just showing you that this is an option that has been taken in other jurisdictions to set up special economic zones that create employment, create income, and have been beneficial in other places. Good. I just want to stick up in there. So that's one. Two, there is within our constitution, there is an established Nevis Island administration. There's established the federal government. The Nevis Island administration, and just to give you a bit of maybe Jeopardy knowledge, there's one other jurisdiction in the world from my research, and persons can prove me wrong, which has a similar setup to us, and that is Tanzania and Zanzibar. It's called, I think, the United Republic. If you could check that too, Cortencia. I don't want to be wrong. There's a term for Tanzania, name, and Zanzibar is part. But Zanzibar has its own legislature on the island of Zanzibar, which is off the east coast of Africa. And then they have certain things that they have exclusive right over to control. So that's how we're set up as well.
Well, that is where I wanted to go, where this exclusive rights.
Okay. So within the Constitution, let me explain that part. So Nevis, let me open the Constitution. So I'll go to the section. So for example, agriculture. Agriculture is one of those matters. Okay, so that, you see, our Constitution is not straightforward. It's not the typical Commonwealth Caribbean Constitution. It has its own nuances, and that I think is why we're going to set up a constitutional information program. We haven't figured out how we're going to do it yet, whether a podcast, so we can go through chapter by chapter the Constitution so people can have an understanding. So there are certain things which the Nevis Island administration, that is the executive, the government, have exclusive rights over. Then there are certain things that the legislature in Nevis, because there's a legislature in Nevis as well with a president instead of a clerk.
But I'm speaking to the exclusive rights of the individuals who will be housed in this proximity.
No, you see, okay, Quint, you unfortunately you swallowed the rumors.
But just now you stated some places, and you said.
Oh, you mean in the special economic zone?
Yes,
and they have special rules that apply.
And you did not say special rules. You said special. You said exclusive rights.
I did not. No, I didn't say exclusive rights.
You said some of these businesses have exclusive rights.
No, I didn't say that. I said special rules.
Okay, well, we are being recorded.
Yeah, so we can look back and see. Yeah, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
But the point is that the companies, the businesses that are set up in special economic zones have special rules that apply to them.
Okay, special rules and exclusive rights are two different things. So
yes.
I just wanted to make
very
that
different
clear.
things. Yes, very different things. Okay.
When we say special rules, could you be concise on what we mean?
They vary in different economic zones. So I believe the one in Ireland, they have a special like customs rules. I know in the one in Jamaica, they have special rules to expedite export and import.
Yes.
So there won't be the same customs rules that apply to Cortencia when Cortencia goes up to Bird Rock. But there'll be special rules and special rules that apply within the zone. Cayman has one as well that has special rules that apply within to encourage foreign direct investment. Okay, good. So, to the Constitution. Certain things that the Nevis Island legislature has exclusive rights over. They're listed: agriculture, amenities for tourists, animals, archaeological or historic sites, borrowing of money, cemeteries, cinemas, conservation and supply of water, dangerous or inflammable substances, economic planning and development other than national planning and development, employment of persons who are not citizens, hotels, restaurants, bars, casinos, housing, industries, trades, businesses, land and buildings other than land and buildings vested in the Crown and specifically appropriated to the use of government, including holding of land by persons who are not citizens, or alien land holding licenses, manufacture and supply of electricity, parks, prevention and control of fires, roads and highways, sports and cultural activities. Those are matters that are within the purview of the Nevis Island legislature. Then the Nevis Island administration has similar exclusive, so in other words, the federal government cannot tell them to do in relation to these matters. That is what the Constitution says. Good. So I've set the background. Now, the Special Sustainability Zones Authorization Act is what you call a preliminary act. It effectively is the Parliament giving the executive the opportunity to negotiate development agreements to set up special economic zones with sustainability principles. So that's what it is. It is the Parliament giving the executive the authority to negotiate development agreements. Those development agreements must have take into consideration sustainability. So in other words, if you set up a manufacturing zone, for example, in St. Kitts or Nevis, you can't draw on, I think it says 70, you can't pull all of our electricity from Skelec. You must generate your own electricity. You can't pull all the water, we already have water issues, from the general water supply. You must generate your own water. Sustainability principles. So it's really economic zones with sustainability principles. Okay, let's take a pen. Let's go directly to the bill. The bill is an act to authorize and empower the Prime Minister with the approval of Cabinet and, if necessary, the Nevis Island Administration to enter into development agreements for the establishment of special sustainability zones on real property within St. Christopher and Nevis and to provide for related and incidental matters. Now let's go to the objectives of the Act. Good. 1. Promote sustainable development in St. Kitts and Nevis, which coexists in harmony with nature for generations to come. Is that a good thing? Good. To enable the establishment of special sustainability zones through development agreements to facilitate long-term economic opportunities, create permanent employment, attract foreign and domestic investment, and generate revenue for the benefit of St. Kitts and Nevis. Is that good? Those things.
Sounds good.
To attract financially and technically qualified zone developers, as well as investors and other participants in special sustainability zones in order to promote the effective realization of the zones and associated investments. Good. To enhance both the region and St. Kitts and Nevis's prominence as an extraordinary investment and lifestyle destination. Okay, good. To outline the principles for the establishment of zone governance, special rules, with SSZs, I'll call them SSZs from now on, which accord with the Constitution and which facilitate operational discretion in accordance with international best practice. Is that good? Good. To promote the protection of investments made by zone developers and other investors in real property within SSCs, as well as interests of lenders holding security over such properties. To promote developments that advance multiple of the 7 pillars of the sustainable development to which St. Kitts and Nevis has committed as part of its Sustainable Island State Agenda, such pillars being, I won't read them all, water security, energy transition, food security, sustainable industry, sustainable settlements, circular economy, social protection. Right? The 7 pillars that have been spoken about in Sustainable Island. Good. Then now Section 4 deals with the authority to enter into development agreements. And this is where I wanted to set the constitutional framework first. The Prime Minister may enter into a development agreement with the prior approval of Cabinet for the purpose of giving effect to the provisions of the Act, subject to conditions precedent in Section 5. So, mention Section 5. We're going to go to that. That's important. Okay, good. 2, where...
Excuse. A lot of this is going to go into... I don't want you to go into every detail of everything. We
But
get
that's
gist.
the
After
point.
you-
That's the point, Quint.
After you've outlined 4 points up like you did...
Oh, explain it
prior,
afterwards.
After you've explained 4 points of a particular act, then you can go on. I don't want you to get... Because time is
Okay,
of
that's true.
of the
Understood.
essence.
In other words, speed up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we want... Because one of the things I'm thinking... You use Mauritius or wherever as an example.
From the size?
790 square miles.
Okay.
790 square miles.
Yeah.
So like 8 times our size.
Okay. And that is important. Eh?
Yes, okay.
Okay. So number 2, the point I wanted to make is this special zone that is in Mauritius, are you aware of whether the land is sold or leased?
No.
So that is something that you should have, when you use it as an example, you should have come and say, because we're hearing that the land in Nevis is going to be sold. We don't have a problem with any development.
Sold by who?
Sold from people who own the lands so that it could be used as a special zone.
I have a question, Gat. Do we have where are some of the sustainable zones here on St. Kitts presently?
There are no sustainability.
Oh, we don't have any.
No, because this law was just passed.
Okay.
Yes. There's no proposal for St. Kitts for any sustainability zone. The Premier has said there's one for Nevis.
Yeah.
I do not want to talk about, to be honest, I don't want to get involved in the debate that's happening in Nevis. That is a debate for Nevisians.
So
right?
you don't think the question as to whether the land for the zone will be sold or leased
let's go to
important?
that. Let's go to that. Yes, well, I mean, it is debatable. Yes. Let's go to the section of the Act that deals with that first. Because the Act specifically says that, and there's a rumor that this is a land grab. I'm so confused as to that one that this act is facilitating land grabbing, and this act is facilitating the government being able to acquire. It does not do that. It actually says
because it's always people are going to lose their lands.
No.
Future generation won't have prosperity. There will be nothing left for them.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Okay. This is being used as a political football. Good. People are very sensitive about lands. We're a small jurisdiction. The point you're making is that we're a small jurisdiction and our lands are precious. Good. This act does not allow, it does not give the power to the state to acquire any land. Does not. It says the zone developer actually it says the opposite, must show that they have either leased. I'm going to look for this section.
So the land in Mauritius is primarily leased, not sold.
Okay.
Though there can be exceptions, particularly for foreign investment in approved schemes.
And that is another big point.
Good. So let's go to the section, Quint. The zone developer shall provide, and this is in section 5, conditions precedent, evidence of ownership or lease of.
Yes.
Or agreement to purchase or lease the real property comprising the area as of the time of entering the development agreement. So it contemplates that it could be leased land. But Quint, okay, you cannot tell the right to own land, the right to own your land is a constitutional right.
Yes.
The state cannot take away your land unless it is for a public purpose. That is not mentioned in here, you know. It's unfortunate that it's been twisted like this, but the fundamental principle is the state cannot take away your land unless you're compensated and it's for a public purpose. This does not, this act does not reference that. It is not intended to be any land grab. It's not intended to actually allow for state lands to be used, right? But it is being said that that is what it is, but it's not that. It actually says the developer must show that you've either leased or purchased or agreed to lease or purchase the lands on which you want to establish.
Because everything that you said and the questions you asked as to whether these are good objectives or not, they're very good.
Okay.
So we don't have a problem with that. The problem we have is whatever is going to be placed within this zone that is good, we don't want to hear that you own the land. The developer owns the land.
So you don't want any developers to own land in St. Kitts and Nevis?
It depends on the extent of the development. I'm putting emphasis on this word zone. And I'm also putting emphasis on the fact that I've heard a minimum, I've heard in relation to Nevis, a minimum of 500 acres.
That's not in the Act.
I've not heard, no, I'm not speaking about the Act, I'm speaking about the land in Nevis that it is, let's use a word.
I said I don't want to talk about that because to be honest,
but that is why.
Yes, okay, there is no development agreement. And let me tell you how the Act works. And that's the other thing. The other thing that somebody said, I saw somebody say yesterday, somebody that I know, that this allows some sort of backroom deal to be done. It's actually the opposite.
But
Quinn, just give me a second. If the developer proposes a development agreement, that development agreement, if it involves special rules, let's leave it at that, special rules, there's a list of things that are included in Section 6. If it includes those things, it must go to Parliament. It is literally, I know persons have said and accused governments throughout the world of negotiating deals behind closed doors, and the general public doesn't have any idea, they only know afterwards. Right. I have a fundamental view that the persons that you elect to run your operations can negotiate deals, but I mean, there's some things that involve of public importance that you bring to the public first, and you say, should we do this? Yeah. Right? Fine. Yes. Good. This is, in law, requiring the NIA or the federal government to actually go to Parliament and say, there is a proposal from a proposed developer, and these are the terms, and debate it. Literally, from the recitals to the legal clauses as to which law applies and all those things that happen in a contract. Now go to the public, if there is a proposal, for the public to debate it. So, if a proposal comes, say a developer says, I want to lease 20 acres of land to create a special sustainability zone. And the government cabinet meets and says, okay, this seems like a good thing for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Cabinet can't sign off on that, It must go to Parliament to be ratified. And what that means is, going to Parliament means tabling it, public consumption, public debate, right? Potentially town halls and discussions, and then a debate in Parliament. This thing about this statement, oh, well, you have the majority, so you're going to push it through anyway. You think anybody who was voted to go into Parliament is going to do something that is going to upset the constituents to the point where they say, well, we don't want you anymore? That makes no sense. That is self-destruction. So the point is, though...
But Mr. Agee, this is why, and I'm glad you're here, because the more you speak, the more we're getting what we wanted from the very beginning, clarity.
Well, yes, but Quint, this bill, I wasn't here because I was at the UN on August 11th or when it was. I was on the UN committee developing the International Convention for Tax Cooperation. But I had in my headphone, I was in the UN Assembly, I had in my headphone because I was listening. There was a full debate with at least 6 presentations about this bill. So you see, there's a difference between reality and what people want you to think.
But
this was actually debated.
But did you go specifically and debate these things that you're now saying here?
What do you mean? The bill was debated. This bill.
Yes, in the debate.
It was tabled, I think, in July. It was debated. There was contribution to the debate from multiple persons.
Mm-hmm.
right? So how can anybody say that it was clandestinely passed? It was then going to the usual process. Parliament passes a bill. The bill goes to the Governor General. The bill is then gazetted. It was gazetted later in August.
Well, I'm not one of those who said it was clandestine.
Okay, good.
I never said that.
Okay, good.
My issue has always been with the amount of land and whether the land will be sold or leased.
Good. And that is a fundamental point for you, for different people. I can have a view. Hortensia can have a view. You can have a view. But here's the great part about this bill. This does not create development agreement, SSZs, you know. This does not. This says if anybody wants to negotiate one, to get one, the parliaments, if it's in Nevis, the federal parliament and the Nevis Island Assembly must debate it. If it's in St. Kitts, the federal parliament must debate it so that everybody can see every single clause. Because think about it, Quint. If you're going to allow special rules, I'm talking about concessions, because there's legislation already that can allow both the Nevis Island Administration and federal government to give concessions to developers.
Yes.
Say, for example, Marriott. Marriott purchased the land from the Frigate Bay Development Corporation, which is state-owned, to develop the Marriott. Has Marriott been a good thing for our economy?
Yes.
Good. So, foreign direct investment is not bad. And I'm hearing in some circles that it is.
And I've said such. I've used examples where I've shown that certain things have been beneficial.
Good.
But it still comes back down to we have our concerns, and our concerns are X amount of land and in a 68 square mile zone where I have children, Hortensia might get children.
I have children.
And we're looking at what will be there for them in posterity.
And that is a very good debate to have as a society. The debate can very much come down onto, government either. We don't think that you should use more than 10 acres.
Okay.
But Quid, that's the beauty of this beast that has been created a beast before they saw the beauty of it. The beauty of it is that debate must happen. Must happen. So because the law says, yes, the law says that if there is a development agreement with special rules, right, it must become, so it will come, so the Quint Special Sustainability Zone that has been proposed, it doesn't have to be foreign. The Quint Special Sustainability, Quint goes to Panama and makes connections with manufacturers in Panama, for example, and says, listen, I have St. Kitts and Nevis, we want our people to have high-paying jobs and so forth and so on. I like this model. Can I partner with you to do a model like this in St. Kitts and Nevis for another, say textiles, or say traditional textiles, cultural textiles, or using a particular plant or breadfruit leaf or something to create. And I want to create the Quint Special Sustainability Zone. The thing is, though, I want concessions. I want a tax break for a little while. I want to be able to ship my stuff out. Wait, let me finish the example. I want to be able to ship my stuff out from the zone. I don't want to have to go through the customs port and so forth. So I want some special rules that apply to my zone. My zone is going to be 10 acres. I want to be 10 acres in Date Bay, for example. I'll give you an example.
But
so
hold your thought. That part about shipping out without customs, that is another question mark that we have concern about.
But that's what Jamaica has.
Well, we're not concerned so much about what Jamaica have. We're concerned about thinking about the future and our small size. And if you allow an individual to have I don't want to misquote.
Special rules.
Special rules in relation to import and export.
That doesn't mean customs won't be there,
Oh, because that's what I want to know.
Yes, that's the point. That doesn't mean
I want clarity.
No. That's a national security matter.
Because
what comes in and goes out. It doesn't mean special rules. Just mean like it processes quicker.
Okay.
So
I want clarity.
Yes, I know. I agree. So let me give you this. So the Quint SSZ, the Quint SSZ, 10 acres. When you make that proposal to we're doing it as an example in Date Bay. You make that Quint SSZ proposal to the federal government, right? So the federal government sits down with you, you say, listen, I'm going to create 50 jobs, 100 jobs. I'm going to generate this amount of income for the country annually. I'm going to my own water. I'll have my own little mini desal plant. I will have generators, or I will have all solar.
And we see that already happening here, the Marriott and certain.
Yes, exactly.
That's
but
why
it
I
wasn't
thought
forced.
that might have been a sustainable.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you now have to, in order
It's
to have your special
mandatory.
rules,
It's mandatory. Okay,
yes,
yeah.
it makes it mandatory. So you come with your proposal, government's cabinet says, okay, great, Quint. We want to go with the Quint SSC. You know, it doesn't end there. You know what that means? The Quint SSZ development agreement bill has to go to the federal parliament. And then it has to be debated. So an opposition member could say, I don't think that those lands, that the 10 acres that are allocated for the Quint Special Sustainability Zone are good for St. Kitts. It's in the wrong spot. It's too much. It's too little. Why didn't give him 20? All of the views can now come out in the public realm in Parliament for the parliamentarians to debate. My role in Parliament is to explain and clear up issues like I'm trying to do here. This is the People's Parliament, right? And so, if your special Quint SSZ may succeed in Parliament, it may not, but here's the catch. Here's I want to deal with this fundamental point. I heard a politician say, well, even if it has to go to Parliament, even though they said before it's going to be a backroom deal, you know. Now they come around and say, even if it has to go to Parliament, they have the majority of votes. Is a politician in any country going to be self-destructive? If, for example, the representative that includes the area of Date Bay, if there are protests after they get the bill, we do not want Quint to bring his business over here, right? People put placards when it's debated in Parliament. No, say no to the Quint SSZ. Do you think, I want to ask you this question, I want a yes or no, that the representative for that area is going to support that Quint SSZ? No.
No, it can't be.
No, so yes or no?
We can't just say yes or no. Because the reason why we can't say no, history has shown us where parliaments have done some weird things.
That's true.
And
That's true.
They cannot be explained.
Okay, that's fair. Fair answer.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
fair answer. Okay, good. But you understand that is as transparent a process as there can be in a democratic society in the type of model we have?
Yes. But let me ask you this. Listening to you now, don't you think that before you cabinet decided to propose this special sustainability zone authorization bill, that what you are doing here now, there should have been some town hall meetings to sensitize people
prior to this bill?
Yes.
Because I have
because listening to you now, I have a better understanding.
Yes,
One, number two, and I can now say to you, well, Mr. AG, I don't have a problem with a zone area as long as it's not X amount of size, one.
Fair.
And number two, I don't want you to be selling land. I want this zone to be leased land so that it comes back to the state eventually.
And those same questions you have are not ignored, because this is just a preliminary act. And I think that's the reason why. This act does not create a zone. I want to repeat that. This act does not create a zone. What creates a zone is a development agreement that becomes law. That's what creates a zone. Goes into Parliament, is debated, is either rejected or passed. That is what creates a zone. We don't have any proposed development agreements at this point.
Yes.
And I want to read this section for you, Quint. I know you're running me because I've taken up too much of your time, but it says that development agreement must provide for express acknowledgement that the following government matters are within the exclusive legislative, governance, and administrative domain and control of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis and the Nevis Island Administration, where applicable. whether within the zone or otherwise located in St. Kitts. Foreign affairs, military defense, citizenship and residence, elections, jurisdiction of the courts, any obligation, and this is the key one, any obligation, right, or responsibility not transferable to any other person or entity under the Constitution. So this talk about giving up sovereignty is actually quite ridiculous because the Act says the opposite. And the point I'm trying to make is, Quint, yes, one of the solutions to negativity is to consult first.
Yes.
Good, right? However, that is no justification for people saying the opposite about something, meaning a lie, to try to create hysteria.
But Mr. Agee, with all due respect, we know there's an old saying where there is no knowledge, the people.
Yes.
You know that.
Yes, but okay. where a law is passed in Parliament.
Yes.
This law was debated, I think, by at least 6 parliamentarians, where the details of the law were actually spoken out, were actually read, were discussed, right? I remember at one point in the debate, it was said, this makes sure there's no issues as to sovereignty, because when you create special rules, you have a little gray area there. But this particular bill says, we're preserving our sovereignty. You must come with leased or purchased land to things. So it's not about government giving up any land.
Yeah.
Right? All of these things that are the opposite of what is being said in the public are contained in the black and white of this bill.
But maybe you're not aware of it, and you do not have to go into it, but there's something happening on Nevis that is of concern in terms of land within a given area being facilitated to be sold for, so there's a question.
Quint, I love your English. English is a lovely language, isn't it?
English was one of my favorite subjects.
Potentia?
Yeah.
Yes. You talk to the NIA about their proposal. No. The Premier has said there has been a proposal, right? So you can talk to him about the proposal. I can tell you, the federal government has not received any proposal.
Okay.
Right? And if we do receive a proposal, naturally, and think about it, naturally, it has to be thought of very deeply.
Yeah.
Because it's something different. Things that are different are normally, but that's the beauty of democracy. That's the beauty of democracy.
Yeah.
One of the issues I have, sitting in that chair before, Quint, I've been around WinFM, started off as a DJ in 2003 and so forth.
I didn't know you did the DJ part.
Yes, I was a good DJ for a little while. But the point is though, that I have been a social commentator.
Yes.
I have sat there and interviewed prime ministers who sat here.
And you've sat over there also
and
interviewed
persons.
Yes.
So I believe in democracy. I believe in a strong democracy means accepting different views because none of us are the same.
Yes.
I have different views to my children.
And you're also open to critique.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I get a lot of critique. Well, I don't think there's the category of things they haven't said about me is much less than what they have. But anyway, that's all part of high public office. It is what it is, and none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect.
Yeah,
17 around there on propaganda and how it can destroy.
Let me ask you this: would you sit there and I don't want to use the word accuse, but I think I will. Will you accuse me of being a propagandist?
No, I accuse you of having very strong views that sometimes are not based on fact. So in other words, but I don't blame you. I don't blame you because sometimes the narrative. So okay, let's take this example. This SSDF.
Before you go forward, let me say this: you are part right and you are part wrong, because I don't state what I say as fact. I ask questions.
As an opinion, yes, and you do ask questions.
I ask questions.
Yes.
Yeah, so I want you to be clear on that.
Okay, so I think what it is you have very strong opinions. Sometimes the opinions you have are not based on accurate facts, but that's fine. That's fine. You ask questions, you probe, right? I have no problem with that.
Yes.
You know that this station was created so that there could be discussion about matters.
Yes.
That's why it was created. It's not owned by the government. It's owned by numerous individuals of different political beliefs who felt that they had to be free expression.
Because in asking question, here's something I've garnered, which is why I ask question. And this is something you can take with you as you go and use it in further debate. Mauritius, or whatever that place is named, that you use as an example,
yes,
leases land.
Well,
lease and sell.
Lease and sell.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what Catencia says.
Okay.
Yes.
But-
No. Listen.
Read back that part that you did with.
She said lease, and there's some options to purchase.
Yes, I want her to find that and read back. In the meantime, you can speak.
Yes. So I just wanted to. So there are conditions precedent.
Yes.
If you develop a special economic zone, it must fulfill our sustainability principles.
Yes.
That's in essence what it is. Bring your own water. Which is what Marriott has done.
Yes. You found it, Cartons,
No, it's loading pretty slow.
Right. And if you have special rules that apply to your zone, it must come to Parliament.
And I'm going to put special rules in inverted commas here because there's a question as to
Exactly.
how
So
far that
no,
would go.
but remember section 6I says everything must comply with our constitution. What our constitution says, we're a sovereign country.
Okay.
Right? So the debates that they're having right now
Their own laws, etc.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even want to go into it because it's just okay. As someone who has read the bill, when I hear those things, I say, boy, politics is really something else, you know. But you know, it's persons are trying to hype up others because land is precious. Listen, land is a precious commodity. Precious commodity. You know, and I sit, right, as Attorney General in a government whose forefather, one of the founders of the party, one of the most important people in the party, right, believed in the people having their land. And I fundamentally believe in that too. Right? So I wanted this accusation of land grabs and taking land from people.
But
it's
again.
It's ridiculous.
Have I ever made those?
No.
To me
No, not you. No,
okay,
not you.
because I want to be clear.
No, I'm just talk about it.
Because when you say I make statements not grounded in fact, I have an issue with that. Because again, I say I don't make statements. I ask questions.
Okay.
I say, is it that this is this and why is this? That is what I do.
But as a talk show host, you have to ask tough questions.
Yes.
You have to engage and solicit debate. That's the whole part of it.
Yeah.
You know. But I want people, and this is the fundamental point. I want people. Okay, this is public. The SSC is public. Good. If you want to call in the radio and have opinion on it, read it first.
Yeah.
Let's have an informed debate. That's the point. I remember I was listening one morning. Clearly, I do listen when I'm in the car, though. I don't. Otherwise, I'm too busy. But I listened one morning. I heard Cortencia. I'm sure she remember it. Reading a letter, and the letter was almost diametrically opposed to what the guest was saying. You remember that letter about yes? And I thought to myself, okay, that changes the narrative, doesn't it? The actual letter. So we are very tribal in our politics, and we're becoming very mean in our politics, very venomous.
Well,
is probably the better word.
I don't think myself and Carten.
No,
can
not
be
talking about
accused
y'all.
of that.
No, not talking. I'm
But
talking about generally.
I want people to. Look, as we're sitting here, I
Quint,
want.
I know where I stand, you know. I know, but I know where I stand, and I know.
Okay. I take back what I said.
Yes.
You express strong opinions.
Yes.
Right. Some of them I don't agree with.
Well,
Let's leave it there.
That is democracy.
That is democracy. That's the great thing about living in a free country.
Yes.
Right? And all you have to do is have respect.
Yeah.
You know, don't be venomous. Have an opinion. You know, I don't agree with this. Why don't you agree with it? Let's go. Let's have a nice. I love a debate. I love a debate. It's wonderful. But no. So when persons call in now and talk about the act, right? I'll make sure that you all have a copy. You can say, well, you've said this. How can you say that this is a government land grab? There's nothing in here that says that the government can acquire land for set up a zone. It actually says that the person must come with a lease or their ownership papers, or the agreement to lease and the agreement to own. Right? So, I want you to contradict those things.
But this bill also suggests that if a certain zone is specified and perhaps an individual or two are not accommodating, perhaps the system
It does not.
So that is why I asked the question.
There is actually...
Because when it says zone authorization bill, does it not... Again,
it does not. It does not allow the government to acquire. It does not allow the government to acquire people's land.
Okay, so I want to be clear on that. So,
yes.
so it means that if I am here in this piece of spot and I resist selling, the government can't come in and say, well, we want this zone area. So
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Very close, 50 miles away. I spent a lot of time in Antigua growing up. There's this place called St. James's Club. It's a hotel which is with security and there were, I think, 2 people. I know for sure one. To get to their house, they had to go through St. James's Club, because when the developer came to purchase the land, they refused to sell theirs.
Yeah.
So they ended up being almost landlocked, but they had permission to go through to get to their home. People can refuse. People have the right to do what they want with their own land.
So this is why I want clarity, you see, because I don't want to assume. I don't want to assume because I interpreted something to mean one thing and then...
It does not. This is not anything to do with any government acquiring land to facilitate a zone.
So we hope...
So I can speak for the federal government.
So we hope that in the future, we're not scratching our heads and saying, but I thought I heard the AG say they wouldn't acquire that, and how come it's happening? How come it's happening? You know what I'm saying?
So why? Okay. So think about it from the St. Kitts perspective. Let's think about it from the St. Kitts perspective. If a zone developer, if Quint SSC came to the government and said, there is certain government lands that I wanted to operate my zone on, right, and they weren't used or anything like that, then maybe consider it's not the best option for sure, because then you trigger the debate of, is this the right thing to do with government crown lands?
Yes.
What if you purchase a land from a landowner in Deep Bay to create your Quint SSC and come and say, I've purchased this arm's length deal, I paid a good price for it, I want to set up my business. Very different.
And again, it still comes down to the size of that zone.
Yes, of course. And that's important. That's important because you don't want to have too much land allocated for not, beneficial. It must be beneficial. It must weigh the benefits.
Because there was a question I had to ask you, but I won't ask you because of the debate, the way the debate has gone, because the question was going to be in terms of just what we stated in terms of the land and size and posterity, okay? Yeah, but it was good to have you here. And since you've sat in that chair and you seem to be quite comfortable, it means that you won't have any qualms about coming back and having a sit.
Once I can find the time, because I'm extremely busy. One more thing though, Section 9, it says that the Prime Minister or the Premier can create an independent oversight body to review development agreements and also monitor SSZs. So that's another protection mechanism within the legislation. It's not a bad act. Honestly, people have demonized it, and out of the sake of politics. But if you read it, it really is not a bad act.
I would say people have demonized it because there was not enough of a discussion, a broad discussion.
Outside of Parliament?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Understood.
Yeah.
Because I have a little thing here that says, basically, the AG should be reminded that the public was not educated on the issue before it became a bill for parliamentary debate. It is typical of politicians to say that it was debated in Parliament as if our Parliament is a place where issues are debated with open minds, which was the one occasion in which a parliamentarian had their mind changed on an issue as a result of the debate in the House and voted differently.
That's happened in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, that's happened in the past.
You didn't find that thing with Mauritius?
Yeah, I have that thing with Mauritius right here. So land in Mauritius, special sustainability zone.
No, special economic zones.
special. Well, it says special sustainability zones.
No, we're the first in the world, I think, to call it that. But anyway,
because
Yeah.
that is why.
That's what it
Because
says here.
yes, she said sustainability.
It says it's primarily leased, not sold, though there are exceptions.
Yes, but see the word primary. You
Yeah.
see, you understand?
I get your point, you know.
Okay.
Your point, Quint, is if a zone is setting up leasing.
Yes,
I get your point. Yeah.
That is why when people.
Yeah, but Quint, are you gonna tell landowners? I've heard a discussion in recently where people are encouraging persons not to sell land. Would you encourage landowners, just generally, not to sell land?
Well, let me say this. I spoke to people being selling lands in this so-called rumor in Nevis, okay? And here's what I said to answer your question.
It's no longer a rumor because the Premier has said that there's a proposal.
Okay, so I said, this is what I said. I hear that people in Nevis, there is a particular guy who has 8 acres. I'm speaking specifically what I said. 8 acres, and he doesn't have a problem with selling 4 acres, but he wants to hold on to 4 acres so that he can pass it on to his children. And I have a problem with him not being able to hold on to the 4 that he wants to hold on.
Why can't he?
So you understand? You see, does that answer your question? Because I'm saying
yes.
I don't.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
You believe potentially that he will lose all 8. He might sell 4.
Because he was saying, because what I was getting was that individual was saying, they don't want me to just sell 4 and hold 4. They want all 8. And that's where I had a problem.
They want it and you give it is
2 different things.
Yeah.
2 different things.
Because you do still have power. It's yours.
Yes.
You don't even have to give them 4 anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every person hopes that they can have land that they can transfer down generation and generation.
Yeah.
You know, my great-grandfather has a home that we've kept in the family and maintained because it has sentimental value.
Yeah.
It represents the hard work that he did at a certain time to grow his family and so forth. It's important.
Yeah.
Land ownership is very important, especially considering our history.
Yes.
So that is why, Quint, people with malintent are trying to make this a land grab issue when it is not. And that is the point.
Well, like you, I'm going to say I don't want to go there. Yeah. But let me say this in closing. I'm glad you came. And I'll say this. I've always been proud of you. When I came to WinFM years ago and I first met you as a young man, I may not agree with things I've heard, certain things, whether they're factual or not. But as a young man, I'm proud of you because I have sons, and I would want my sons to move in a vein where you can be proud, you can look and say, that is my son and he's moved. And I think you're a good example. Along with others in your cabinet, young people, I have my issues as to whether you, the young people who make up the parliament right now, the cabinet right now, whether you're really taking the responsibility that you have seriously and making steps that make us see that, look, they're making the right steps. We know you'll make mistakes, but we're looking forward to you learning from your mistakes and listening to people. You have been accused, and I have also said that sometimes it seems to me that you speak down to people.
Oh, no.
You've been accused of that. But today has been quite amicable. You've not spoken down to us. It has been a cordial thing. I would suggest that you continue in that vein.
Yes, and I appreciate that, Quint.
Yes.
I am open to criticism.
Yeah.
I see every single human being as being the same.
Yes.
My grandfather told me that when I was very young. It stuck in my mind. Everybody's the same. So I've been accused of that. Maybe it's how I speak, but it definitely not anything within my heart.
Okay.
Because I genuine and anybody that knows me, some people don't know me, and people listen to the rumors and things. Anybody who knows me know that I'm a genuine person. I laugh a lot. I believe that life should be enjoyed. I try to pass that down to my children. I believe in positivity over negativity. But I have taken what you've said, and I will internalize it, and I'll make sure that how I speak does not reflects how I truly am inside.
Okay.
Because I don't see myself as anybody. I honestly see myself as being the same as everybody. All of us are flesh and blood. Yeah. If people have different roles to play, and That is how that's my philosophical view on life, and I want people to be informed.
Yes.
And that is why I sit down every time a bill is passed in Parliament. I sit down. Sometimes the next day to get it over quickly, while it's fresh in my mind. Sometimes weeks after, and I summarize all of the bills that are passed, and I've come to kind of elucidate and let people know that this is not some evil monster, and this isn't some secret thing happening behind closed doors. This is what it really is. Have your debates as to whether lease and own and all of those different things, and let's have a rigorous democracy.
Yeah.
And I just want to wish everyone happy independence. Thank you for having me. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
It's always good to come on. I say I listen, so I wish you all the very best, and I hope you all have a wonderful independence tomorrow.
Same to you.
And the whole country.
Yeah. Thanks for your visit.
Take care.
And don't be a stranger.
I won't.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Flow customers, unlock big prepaid rewards every time you activate a prepaid plan. Activate a 7-day plan or higher and earn points towards your rewards. Activate again, earn even more points. Activate next week, well, you get the picture. The more you activate, the more extra data and prizes you earn. Get in on the big prepaid rewards. Dial *129 or visit topupflow.com to activate a prepaid plan today.
Church's Texas Chicken is on its way to St. Kitts and Nevis, and we're hiring. You can be part of our growing team as we open our very first store on the island. We're looking for motivated managers, friendly customer service reps, and hard-working kitchen champions. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Send us your resumes today at jobs@pizzaboys.com. Church's Texas Chicken. Flavor you love.
Back to school is here, and Digicel is making it extra exciting. Go back to school in style with a brand new laptop. All you have to